Greetings, Paper Demons. Today we're going to be talking about art trades, what they are, and how to get started with them. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Bogus Red, and I'm the creator of the PaperDemon Art role-playing game and community. You can learn more about the PaperDemon community in the description below. I wanted to talk about art trades because I know we have many people in the art community with social anxiety or maybe have some social difficulties, and so approaching another artist for an art trade can be an overwhelming process or might be difficult to do. So first of all though, what is an art trade? An art trade is when two artists agree to make art for one another. Oftentimes this involves asking the other person to draw your characters, so you have a chance to see how another artist draws your characters in their style. When you're both done, you then exchange the finished art with one another. A lot of what you're going to hear in this video are suggestions and tips from our community members on how to initiate trades with other artists. We're going to also be talking about some specific things that we have planned in the PaperDemon Art RPG to help encourage and facilitate art trades better. Here's our first tip. One of the suggestions is to just poke people on Discord or within forums. So if you're on any art-related Discords or forums, that is one way that you can kind of ask people. That can be hard to do though if you've got social anxiety. I can see how that might be a little bit harder to do. If you're within a community though where there's a lot of art trades happening, you might have a higher success rate. So I don't know if you're familiar with a site called Art Fight, but it's a very popular event that happens in the month of July. It's happening right now at the time this video is coming out. It's a big event where people draw each other's characters and try and earn points for their team. People in this community are expecting other people to draw their characters, so it's a very welcoming of art trades. However, it's not a traditional art trade in the sense that you make an agreement with another person ahead of time that each of you will draw each other's characters. It's not a guarantee that they will draw your character back. So you kind of have to check people's profiles or reach out to them ahead of time and make sure that you have an agreement of an art trade. Of course, outside the month of July, it's harder to find a community where you're seeing a lot of people who are doing trades. Of course, PaperDemon is one place where we do have a lot of people who are doing trades, so you're of course welcome to join the PaperDemon community to find other people to trade with. But outside of PaperDemon, there's also finding a community on a topic you're interested in. So for example, if you're really into Pokemon, you can find a community that's into Pokemon and then see if there's artists within that community that might want to do a trade. Some people also host events, like especially in December, like Secret Santas. Those are very popular and they'll oftentimes be centered around a specific topic or anime or something like that. So those are a good thing to look out for, especially in the month of November and December. Another place to find art trades is if you are a member of Toy House. There are forum threads where people are drawing each other's characters, such as draw this character above, or things like that, where it's like it's not necessarily a traditional trade of a trade between two artists, but it's rather a chain of people, like one after the other, drawing the character above type of thing. So there are things like that you can look out for, and you don't have to. There's no like social expectations involved or worrying about a rejection, because all you have to do is you just jump into the thread and say, okay, I take the character above me. So it's a lot easier to get into that conversation and get an artwork out of it and have some assurance that you will receive one back. Another thing you could do, especially if you're shy, you can put in your social media profile that you are open to art trades and then just wait for other people to approach you. You know, on your socials, on your art community profiles, like you put on there, make it prominent that you are open to trades. You can also, whenever you post your artwork on social media, like on Instagram, there is a hashtag you can tag on your artwork called ArtTradesOpen that will allow other people to find you. You can also put it in your bio so that people can see that you are open to trades, so people can know directly to message you and do a trade with you. Another suggestion from our community was to offer free art on niche art sites, as well as checking out some pet simulator sites. There's usually people offering art trades within the forums on those types of sites. Going to artist meetups and panels and stuff like that at conventions is another way to meet other artists and ask about art trades. So yeah, there's a lot of different options available to you for art trades. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how you can do art trades with the PaperDemon Art RPG specifically in a moment, but before I get into that, I did want to share a few warnings and tips that our community has also wanted to share with you guys, because there are some people out there who will try to scam you to get free art out of you. So you do want to make sure that you're a little bit careful. Just, follow a few steps before you commit to doing a trade with someone, just to kind of protect yourself. My first tip is to be careful of scams. Sometimes people will try and lure you into creating free art for them by telling you that they want to do an art trade with you, when really they just want you to create free art of their character. So some ways that you can kind of ensure against this is check the profile of the other person that is offering to do a trade with you. Make sure that they have art on their profile and that there's some consistency to it, that it doesn't look like art that was created by different people, like it's not stolen or anything like that. Make sure that if there's like signatures or watermarks on the artwork, that it's consistent and not like different signatures from different people. Discuss a timeline with the other person of when you expect it to be finished, when each of you expects to finish it. This doesn't mean that you necessarily have to expect that the other person complete it within a month or a day or whatever, but just to at least get an idea of when the other person's going to get it done. Another tip is to not send them your piece and don't post it online until they have also finished their piece. Discuss expectations and deliverables with the other person. Like, are you creating just sketches for each other? Are you doing a fully colored piece? Is it half body? Is it full body? Are you including backgrounds? You want to discuss these sorts of things ahead of time, because it might feel unfair if you were to complete a fully rendered art piece with a background and the other person just did a sketch. Unless you're okay with that sort of thing, but I think it's best to kind of figure out what those expectations are ahead of time. Another thing to discuss is boundaries. Some people don't like to draw certain things, like they don't like to draw not safe for work content, or don't like to draw mechs, or certain types of things that make them uncomfortable or are maybe too complicated to draw. So make sure that you discuss these things with the other person ahead of time and come to an agreement on what type of content will be in the artwork. It can also be helpful to send a reminder every now and then with the other person if it's been a few weeks since you've heard from them, just to check in and see where they're at with the artwork if you haven't heard from them. Okay, so let's talk more about the PaperDemon art role-playing game and how art trades come into play in the PaperDemon game. So if you're not familiar with the PaperDemon art role-playing game, it's a game where you advance by drawing. So we give you prompts where you draw your original character, fulfilling the prompt, exploring a portal, or going on a quest, or fighting a boss. And in these prompts, you can also draw another character to get additional rewards and points. In particular, whenever a character is drawn, whether by you or by someone else, your character gains more points and gains more power, ranks up, that kind of thing. Within our battle system, it's highly encouraged that players draw other people's characters to gain more power in their attack. So if you draw your character with someone else's character, it does what's called a duo cast, which combines the two elements of those characters together to create a new element. So it creates a unique mechanic that you could not achieve alone if it was just your character. There's also trio casting and quad casting within the game as well. So drawing 3 characters or 4 characters creates an even more powerful attack than if you just drawn 1 or 2 characters alone. So this is a fun way that we've introduced drawing other people's characters into the game. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily be a trade. It's not, if I draw your character, you have to draw mine. but it is definitely a way that is encouraging of that, kind of in a similar way that Art Fight does it, but it leaves it up to players to kind of decide if they want to make an arrangement ahead of time, like, hey, I'll draw your character in this attack if you draw my character in your attack. In the case of our art RPG though, we kind of designed it in a way that it didn't really require a trade in order for it to be mutually beneficial, because the player who is doing the artwork is getting the benefit of loot and points, and the person whose character is being drawn gets the benefit of points on their character and seeing art of their character. So there is a mutual benefit, even if there isn't a mutual investment of time and effort on both sides. Many of you know Archillian Dragon, one of our longtime community members and site administrators and Discord moderators. She's been with me on the running the site for like 15 years or something crazy like that. She's been in my DMs lately, brainstorming a bunch of ideas for how we can facilitate more art trades within the community. Another thing we do is every year we have Secret Santa, which is its own like can of worms for me. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Secret Santa because it's always a massive logistical pain in the ass to run it. Hopefully this year goes much more smoothly than last year, which was a huge mess. We used this website that was supposed to shuffle the names for us, and it did not do it properly, or the people who were using it did not use it correctly or something, and the same names got served up multiple times, and then people also didn't get their gifts, and yeah, it was a mess. We were able to sort it out. We had the staff do makeup gifts for anyone who didn't get one, but still it was a lot of work to try and sort out the mess. Anyway, I am getting off topic. Back to PaperDemon Art RPG. Another thing that we're planning to introduce to the game, which we're hoping to have out by the end of the year, is PvP, so player versus player battles. Currently, the battles that we have today are boss fights, which are a big collaborative event where all players work together to defeat one monster that is a menace across the Paperverse. So it's very collaborative. Everyone is working together. But we want to introduce a way where you can create a duel against another character and do a one-on-one fight. Maybe 1 round, maybe 3 rounds, maybe 5 rounds. It'll be up to you. You can kind of decide ahead of time whether you want it to be 1 to 5 rounds for the battle. And then you'll have a limited amount of time to do your attack each round. So it'll be one person's turn for 3 days. You'll have 3 days to create your artwork and enter your attack. You'll be given a random prompt that you'll have to create the artwork from, and you'll have to draw your character with the other person's character fulfilling the prompt. And then it gets punted to the other person, and then they'll get a random prompt and then have to create the artwork from the prompt. And it goes back and forth until either one character loses all their hit points or all the rounds have been exhausted. So like if you set it up as 3-round battle, if you've gone through all 3 rounds, then it's done. So 3 rounds would mean both sides have gone 3 times. I think we'll probably want to do a live stream talking more about this so that we can get some community feedback, because we'd love to kind of hash this out with the player base before we start coding it, because it would be good to get input before we start to commit this into code. We also had a recent community suggestion. Let me see who suggested this. So we have a community member named Niev, I believe, who suggested we maybe have a way for players to create a quest for other players to participate in. So maybe they say something like, hey, I need someone to help me rescue a kitty cat from this portal that got lost. Can you come help me and adventure with me, or something like that? And then the other player has to fulfill that prompt, and then they can get rewards. So we kind of went back and forth throwing around some ideas on how we might do this and introduce this into the game. This would be kind of similar in that it would be like you drawing someone else's character, like a one-way trade, but one side is proposing the prompt and the other side is fulfilling it. We're still working out the specifics of it, but it's a cool idea. So we want to explore it and see if we can make this happen. So anyway, those are some things that we're working on and looking at exploring more. As I said, we already have some of these mechanics implemented now. The duo casting, trio casting, quad casting is already available now whenever we host a boss fight. Our next boss fight is going to happen in August, and you can also draw each other's characters with any other challenge like portals and quests that come out. You can earn additional rewards and stuff for drawing other people's characters and stuff like that. So if you'd like to try out the PaperDemon Art RPG, there's links for that in the description below. Our community is super friendly, and asking for an art trade should be pretty easy. People are very welcoming of that sort of thing within our community. So special thank you to Cool Caius, Cpran, Unlikely Valentine, Art Beetle, Fumbling Narwhal, Elliot the Idiot, Archillian Dragon, Crazy Shiro, Tenebrusser, Naive, and Zakulf for their contributions to this video. Just for funsies, we're going to be handing out 50 gold to everyone who comments on this video. Just post a comment below by the end of August 2024 with your PaperDemon.com username, and we'll drop 50 gold into your bank. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video.